Welcome back to Theresa.is.Dead. My name is Theresa and I'm very much alive. And if you're new here, welcome. I have an awful garbage mouth where I tend to use fuck as a comma. If you're not into that or weird shit in general, this is not the place for you. Feel free to exit the video here. No harm, no foul, but I'll remember our time fondly. If you want to jump straight to the overall review of the products, I'll leave a time code down below. Feel free to jump ahead. Guys, I'm still sick. I do feel a lot better though today than I have in like a hot minute, but I feel like hot water trash. It's awesome, but now I'm on the proper medication, so hopefully in like a couple of days I'll just like get this out of my system because I really just want to curl up in a ball and die. So I finally mustered up the energy to go to work this week, and there was one day where I could not stop coughing. Like, it was ridiculous. Now, I left work a few minutes early because I could hear people over the cubicle walls murmuring that they thought I was going to kill the entire office with my plague. I know you're probably saying, wow, that sounds pretty harsh, but to their credit, I did openly say in the pantry area, if anyone wanted to get sick, I would happily lick their face for $10. There were a couple of people that were interested, that's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, this week the traffic in Manhattan has been pretty awful, especially going to Queens, so I decided to take the train.
Yay.
A few stops into my commute, the train starts to get a little bit more crowded now. Not overly crowded, but enough where there are no seats available anymore. When we pull into the next stop, a guy gets on the train, and the guy had to be probably like, I would say mid-20s, right? Total fucking hipster kid. Like, just hipster to the goddamn core. He gets onto the train. Now, where I'm sitting, it's like 2 seats and 3 seats, right? So I'm on the 2-seat side. He stands right on the side of me next to where the section of the 3 seats start, and there was a man that was sitting down. And he looks at the man and he goes,
Hey, I'm a little too high right now. I can't handle this. Can I please sit in your seat?
The guy that was sitting down, which I thought was actually gonna punch him a little bit because he looked like a big tough guy, actually laughed in the guy's face and was like,
Yeah, bro, sit down.
I was like, holy shit, obviously it's a miracle in New York right now. Like, this will never happen ever in my life. I should have took a fucking picture. So the kid sits down, he says, thank you so much. He starts looking around the train, he looks at me, he waves at me. We're literally this far apart from each other. He just goes, so of course, you know, I'm not a dick, so I'm like, and he's just like looking around the whole train car as if this was his first train ride ever and he was a small boy. And he's just smiling and noticing the poles and all the different ads, and he just looks like he's having the best time of his life, which, not gonna lie, kind of jealous. So the high guy sitting on the side of me has 2 grocery bags. He starts going through his grocery bags and he takes out a giant plastic bag of cereal. You know, like this kind? It was massive. He has this giant bag that looks like pretty much the size of a toddler. He puts it on his lap. He goes back down. He starts rooting around in his bag again. He takes out, I'm not even kidding, he takes out a quart of milk. All right? He opens the bag and he just pours the milk into the bag. He crumples the top of it up, shakes the bag, and then puts it back on his lap. And I guess he realized he didn't have any sort of utensils. He would just reach his hand into the bag and just start going to town. Can I tell you that every person that passed that guy, he would just reach down, grab a whole handful of cereal, and just go like this to people.
You want some?
He did offer me, and I said, I'm all set, but thank you. And he went,
No problem.
oh God, I love it. I love it. I can't. Anyway, 2 stops before I get off the train, another guy gets on. And he, of course, is standing in the area where me and the cereal guy are sitting in. And the cereal guy gets his attention and says,
Would you care to have some?
like as if it was like fucking Grey Poupon. I was like, what is this? Now, the guy that got on the train either had to be equally as high or just crazy. I don't know. But he said,
Sure, absolutely.
and he dug his hand down into that goddamn cereal bag. And the guy just started eating handfuls of the cereal. No words. I have no words. Now, for the next 2 stops, the men were just so happy to be eating the cereal. They started to discuss how great it would be if companies started selling bags of cereal with milk already in it. So they wouldn't have to constantly have to buy milk and cereal. It could just be one thing. So I figured, why not interject myself into this conversation? So as I was getting up to get off my stop, I just looked at the kid and said, but how would the cereal stay crunchy though? So of course, both of the guys just turned to me and just did this.
Wow. I don't know.
He said, neither do I. And I just got off the fucking train. I was like, what is this? Anyway, I love high people on the subway. Not the scary kind, not the one that are on PCP and want to fight people, but I love the ones that smoke a lot of weed and decide to take the train. Those are my favorites. Anyway, that was my day. How was yours? On today's video, we're going to be talking about the Melt Cosmetics Vita palette along with the Illuminacion, I hope I'm saying that right, highlight. So let me tell you a little bit about the palette first. Melt Cosmetics Amour Eterno eyeshadow palette, Vida, retails for $58. The Vita palette is your go-to for a bright, festive, neutral look, an array of warm and earth tones that are full of life and will leave you feeling inspired. Sunlit reds, oranges, greens, and refreshing neutrals inspired by the marigold flower. So for $58, what exactly do you get? You get this beautiful palette that is absolutely stunning and probably one of the prettiest palettes I own in my collection, hands down. As someone who appreciates a good skull, this speaks to me on more levels than you will ever fucking know. The embossing on this guy is absolutely gorgeous. This is truly stunning. Now when you open her up, you get 10 shades, you get 8 mattes and 2 shimmer shades, and you get this beautiful mirror that I'm trying not to blind you with, and you can see the detailing on the mirror matches the outside of the palette. It's truly stunning. The reason why I picked up Vida and not Muerte is because honestly, Muerte looks very beautiful, but Muerte looked too similar to Smoke Sessions. And as you guys know, like, you know, I have the Smoke Sessions palette. I don't really utilize it too much because I was the one that had like the weird puffy vagina palettes. Between that and the Gemini palette, they have become so fragile that I don't really utilize them that much because I'm afraid they're going to break. So that's the reason why I didn't pick up that one. Now with that said, I love the shit out of this palette. This is fantastic. And I was really, really pleasantly surprised because again, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Melt, meaning I want to love them and they just hate me. And I don't know why. This though, I had the complete opposite experience. This is so goddamn good. First of all, I'm literally jerking off this palette right now and these guys are staying intact and that is fabulous because unlike the other palettes I have, they're so fragile, like they just either pop out of the goddamn pan or just make a huge mess and whatever. Anyway, these little guys are definitely cemented in, which is lovely. And the quality on these are phenomenal. The mattes are beautifully pigmented. They have a little bit of kick up, a little bit of fallout, but for the most part, the fallout is easy to clean with the exception of the shades Chocolate and Mexicana. Those actually have quite a bit of fallout. Definitely need a makeup wipe to clean up the remnants. Not the end of the world. I don't really give a shit. Personally, I'm a huge fan of this color story. I really do love this nuclear section over here, followed by these neutrals and this gorgeous sunset. Now I found that while applying them, all the colors blended out beautifully together. I didn't experience any sort of patchiness, any irritation, and I have to say that this is probably one of the first palettes that I've ever had where the swatches actually match the application. Mind-blowing. My only criticism that I have is that the 2 shades right here, which is the yellow shade, which is called Amour Eterno, and then I believe the green shade is called Papel Pecado. Again, I'm so sorry. I am incredibly, incredibly white and I'm butchering the shit out of that, so I apologize. These 2 shades, they are very, very similar on the eye. That is like my only complaint. I wish that this green shade was a hair darker just to have a little bit more depth. That lime shade has too much of a yellow undertone. When putting it on my eye, as you can see, the yellow, it really kind of stands out more. The green kind of just gets lost and looks a little bit more yellow. I would say that's probably my biggest complaint out of it. Not the end of the world. I still think that both of those shadows, for them being such neon shades, actually have a lot of pigment and a great opacity. Far in terms of them lasting, you know, I would say that these actually have a really decent lasting power. Now when it comes to the 2 shimmer shades, you have the shade Serape, which again, probably butchering the shit out of that, which is that green one. And then this one is called Allegria, which is this like beautiful kind of grapefruit color shade. The green shade is my favorite shade in the whole palette. I mean, are we surprised? No. The reason why I like it so much is because I look like I am the Lizard Queen. Now on this side, I have the Allegria shade on the center of my lid, and at first I popped it on with my finger, and when I did that, I think on top of the red matte shade, I felt like it wasn't really showing up too well, so I actually wound up using a brush with some setting spray, and I was able to kind of achieve that pop of orange in the center of my lid, and it's so goddamn pretty. Interestingly enough, this is mostly an eyeshadow palette with the exception of Allegria, which is considered the pressed pigment. So far, I haven't experienced any sort of staining. If I do, I will make a note of it in a pinned comment down below. But honestly, a little bit of staining it doesn't really bother me too much. I'm so used to it because I look like uncooked chicken. When it comes to the shimmer shades, they are completely fantastic. They have a beautiful opacity. They definitely worked really, really well when adding some setting spray. There is a little bit of crumbliness to them, but nothing too crazy. Overall, I had a really nice time playing with this palette, and I'm very excited to have this in my collection. Now, with that said, is it worth the $58 price tag? In my personal opinion, I'm happy that I paid the $58 price tag. I don't feel like I was cheated in any way, and I could see myself utilizing the shit out of this palette because this is a color story that speaks to me. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't really like this color story, then yeah, this could be a little bit too much for you, and this could be kind of seen more as a companion palette. And for $58 for companion palette, that is really expensive. So that's kind of really on you if you're into this color story and if you're going to be utilizing these shades. You know, it's really your call at the end of the day. But I will say though that based on the quality and my experience with it so far, I'm happy that I purchased this, and I'm actually going to wait for the Muerte palette to hit the Sephora store, which was coming out $11.29, and I'm going to purchase that because now I need to have both of these in my collection. Because if that palette is anything like this palette, bitch, I'm sold, and this might be my favorite holiday collection of this year. That's how good this palette is. Oh my god. In any case, I'm really excited to have this, and I look forward to creating more looks with this because this is absolutely beautiful. So let me tell you a little bit about the highlighter. Melt Cosmetics Amour Eterno Illuminacion, I'm really sorry about that, highlighter retails for $39. A lustrous skin perfecting highlighter with 12-hour wear that reflects a warm, opalescent pink glow. This unique revolutionary hybrid formula enhances and illuminates skin. No filters needed. With a second skin finish, the digital dust formula allows you to easily blend and build from a soft, dewy sheen to a striking glow without appearing powdery or intensifying the look of unwanted texture. This guy retails for about $39. And what you get is, of course, this black S&M case. You get a compact size mirror, and you get this beautiful rose gold highlighter. Now, I will say that the thing that excited me the most, obviously, was the embossing on the pan. This is probably one of the only highlighters I have in my collection where after using a brush a bunch of time and my fingers, the design is still prevalent in the pan. That's pretty fucking amazing. So when I received this in the mail the other day and I swatched it, the first thing I thought of was like, oh shit, kind of looks a little bit like the Fenty highlighter. I'm actually going to show you some swatches now. The top one is from Melt, the bottom one is from Fenty. Right off the bat, you can tell that Melt is definitely has more pigment to it. The Fenty one is definitely more glittery. Now, when I applied this to my face today, I used a brush, and then just a few moments ago, I actually applied a little bit more highlighter on my face using my finger. I have to say, kind of using that technique for both of them makes it definitely more pronounced and stand out. Because on this side, I use it just with a brush, and while it's there, it definitely could be a lot more slutty looking. And it's not. I basically want to look like an alien slut. And on this side, it's more of like a demure alien slut. Not my kind of slut. This side is definitely take me to your leader so I can fuck him. And I love that. Now, here's my issue with it. While I do find it really, really pretty, I feel like there's a time and a place for this kind of color, especially for my skin. So I don't see myself utilizing this all the time. And for that $39 price tag, that's pretty goddamn steep for a highlighter. So I think in retrospect, while I am actually happy with this performance over the Fenty highlighter, I don't see myself utilizing this all the time. This is probably gonna be something I'm gonna break out every so often. So that's kind of a little bit of a bummer for me. But other than that, I really don't have like a bad thing to say about the highlighter. Again, this is the first highlighter I've ever tried from this company, so I don't know if other highlighters are exactly like this, but this one is very, very comfortable. It's not overly glittery, and I really do find that once you use a brush, using your finger just to make it pop a little bit more, in my personal opinion, is necessary. So for $39, was it worth it? Honestly, I think I could have probably skipped down on it only because I don't see myself utilizing this all the time. But at the end of the day, I'm one of those obnoxious assholes that likes to collect makeup. So regardless, I was gonna get it anyway because I had this fucking skull in the pan. If you are on the fence about the highlighter, I would recommend going into Sephora when this collection actually comes into stores and checking to see how the highlighter looks on your skin tone. Yeah, again, I'm not mad at it, but I didn't technically really need it. I probably should have just got the Muerte palette. Whatever. So with that said, let me know down below if you're interested in getting either one of these products, or if you're going to be getting something else from this collection, or you're going to totally skip out. Let me know because I love hearing from you guys. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it as always. Feel free to like, comment, hit that subscribe button. It's fucking free. And hit that bell icon for notification of all my future posts. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Discord. On Thursdays, we have a podcast called Miserable 3, which we will be back next week because all three of us were sick and that's why we couldn't do the episode. And sometimes I'm on my husband's Twitch channel where I just yell about things on the internet. If you're interested in seeing any of that stuff, along with knowing what is on my face and where to get my merch, everything will be listed in the description box down below. And on that note, I will see you little pumpkins later. Bye.